Clinical research is one of the most challenging and rewarding paths in medicine. I'm an associate professor in medicine, a clinical researcher with NIH grant funding. But it wasn't always this way. When I finished my fellowship and my master's in research, I had zero publications to my name. The lessons I learned along the way completely changed how I approach research. Today, I'm going to share 40 brutal truths about clinical research, things I wish I'd known when I was starting out. So let's get started. Number one, research requires a distinct skill set, not an extension of medicine. Many people think that being a good doctor automatically makes you good at research. That few modules you learn in medical school, that's definitely not enough. And research is an entirely different skill set that you have to build from the ground up. There are people doing a full PhD just to do research. Medicine teaches you how to care for patients with diseases, but research is about solving problems no one else has figured out yet. And so it's a completely different mindset. Number two, research is its own path, not a stepping stone to clinical care. I've received many emails from high school students, medical students, and also residents asking to be mentored. Usually they say things like, oh, they want to publish research papers so that it's a stepping stone into medical school or get into a popular residency program. Let me be clear, you do not need research skills to be a good physician or clinician. But the reality is, with how competitive it is to get into med school and into popular subspecialties, many institutions and research actually use publications as a means to filter out applicants. To get into programs, you may need to publish a few projects, but to be truly successful in research, you need dedication in a separate path, just for research. Number three, master the fundamentals. You can't build a house with a solid foundation, and research is no different. Terms like randomization, power calculation, or bias, they're not just buzzwords, they're tools you need to understand deeply. So if you don't know the basics, you struggle to understand a research paper, let alone design a study. So start with the fundamentals and build your expertise step by step. Number four, treat research papers as your syllabus for mastering research skills. Whether you're in grad school or you're self-teaching through online courses, it's easy to get lost in the sheer number of topics you're trying to learn. You're taking all these classes or modules, but at the same time, it can just feel really disconnected. You might think, how does this all fit together? Or how's this going to help me in real research? Looking back, I realized I could have approached this so much better. And instead of checking off courses or semesters, I could have used a research paper as my personal quote unquote syllabus. So think about it. Every research paper you write forces you to learn specific skills. For example, the introduction section. For somebody to write this, you will need to review the literature, craft a solid research question. And this is where you really sharpen your skills in critical reading and pulling ideas together. Now, in the method section, this section is where all the technical stuff happens. The study design, the measurements, statistics. Every subheading in the method section could have been its own class or semester. For example, I took a measurement class in grad school, and honestly, I was kind of disengaged because I could not see the bigger picture. But if I've been working on a paper or kind of used the reverse engineering way by reading the paper first, I could immediately see how relevant it was. Next, the results section. This is where you interpret the data. So it's not just about crunching numbers, it's about making sense of them and tying back to the study. So here, data analysis and understanding interpretation is really important. Then in the discussion section, this is where a lot of magic happens. Here is where you develop arguments, you connect your findings in a bigger picture, and you make your case. If you treat research papers as your syllabus, everything suddenly has context. You're not just learning abstract concepts, and you're building the exact skills you need to produce something real. That way, it's more purposeful and engaging. Number five, own your own schedule. No one will do it for you. Research does not have a structure of clinical work. There is no attending or consultant assigning cases for you or patients waiting to be seen. That freedom can feel liberating, but it can also be a downfall if you're not disciplined. So you actually need to set your own deadlines, you have to carve your time for writing, and you have to protect that time very, very fiercely. Otherwise, research will always take a back seat to more urgent clinical tasks. Number six, advocate for yourself. No one else will. In research, you will have to fight for your own opportunities. No one is going to hand you an authorship, funding, or even protect the time to work on your projects. You need to ask for what you need, make your case, whether that's more protected time, access to data sets, or to get a grant. You do need to speak up because waiting quietly in the background would not get you anywhere. I know conducting a research project is an overwhelming process, so I made the idea to paper blueprint for you.
This blueprint takes you through a 7-step process from the idea generation phase to the paper submission phase. Plus, you get my free 5-day email course, Jumpstart Your Academic Writing. We will cover mindset, see writing tips, how do you beat writer's block, and more. So click on the link in the description below.
Number 7. Institutions measure your worth by the grants you bring in. Here's the harsh truth. In academic medicine, your value is often tied to your ability to secure funding. Grants aren't just about money. They're about prestige and proof that your ideas matter. It's not always fair, but that's the reality. So learning how to write persuasively, understand what funders are looking for is a crucial skill if you want to build a research career. Number 8. Publications are the currency of academia. In research, papers are your receipts. They show what you've accomplished, what you've contributed, and why your work matters. And no matter how hard you work or how great your ideas are, if they do not result in a publication, they technically do not count in the eyes of the field. And so publishing is how you make your mark. Number 9, to get published in a high-impact journal, you need to meet 3 main criteria. Getting published in a high-impact journal isn't just about doing good research. It's about doing research that stands out. So your paper needs to push the field forward, have a rock-solid design, and show clear signs of impact. Journals want the papers that are the first, the biggest, or the most groundbreaking. Number 10, don't just read research articles. Pair consumption with output. Reading research articles is not a hobby, it's a tool. Letting papers pile up in your inbox without a plan just turns them into this vanity metric like, oh, how many papers I've read. Every article you read should have a clear purpose. Are you reading it to write a protocol? Are you conducting a literature review? Or are you applying findings to clinical practice? If there's no specific goal, it's just wasted. Number 11, put on X-ray glasses when reading research papers. Don't just read research papers for their content. Look through the surface to see the structure, the style, and the techniques of persuasive writing. How do authors build their arguments? How do they present their data to make it more compelling? What makes their introduction or discussion section stand out? By studying the how as much as the what, you'll improve your ability to write papers that resonate with reviewers and also with readers. Number 12, always look for problems worth solving. Good research starts with a good problem. And the best ideas do not come from brainstorming alone. They come from observing, asking questions, and also finding gaps in the current knowledge. Then do not stop there. You need to ask, so what? What can people do with that information? Just because there is no information about something does not mean that it's worth studying. So it needs to solve a substantial problem that people care about. Number 13, go deep before going broad. It is really tempting to dabble into everything, but the best researchers start by mastering one area because depth builds credibility, it creates expertise, and also the foundation where you can expand from. Once you've made your mark in a specific niche, you'll have the authority to explore broader questions. But first, go deep. Number 14, ideas are easy, execution is everything. So everybody has ideas, but very, very few follow through. What separates good researchers from the great ones is the ability to take an idea, design a study, and see it through all the way to completion. So focus less on coming up with brilliant ideas and more on executing the ones you've already have. Number 15, learn when to say yes. Saying yes at the right time can open doors you didn't know even existed. Early in your career, saying no can sometimes be misunderstood as disinterest or a lack of initiative. But saying yes to everything also isn't the answer, because that's a fast track to burnout. The key is to make strategic decisions that stretch you and align with your long-term goals. So how do you decide? Personally, I have a 3P framework. The first is people. Is this someone you want to work with or learn from? The right mentor, collaborator, or leader can make all the difference in shaping your career. Number 2, P for project. Does this project align with your goals or interests? If not, can it develop specific skills or experience that will benefit you later? So a project does not always have to be perfectly aligned if it offers growth opportunities. And then the third P is price. What is the cost of saying yes? Consider the time, effort, mental energy it will take. Then, at the opposite, think about the opportunity cost. What might you miss out by saying no? Is this an opportunity worth the trade-off? Number 16, learn when and how to say no. Not every opportunity is worth your time. If it does not align with your goals or adds unnecessary stress, it's okay to decline. Saying no isn't just about being difficult, it's about protecting your time for what truly matters. A clear no can maintain relationships and even create future opportunities. And here's how to handle different situations. These are some scripts you can use in the future. So, number one, if it's an opportunity where you need more information, you can say, "Oh, thanks for considering me. Could you share more details? I like I like to see if it aligns with my expertise and schedule." Number two, if this project is not in your field, I appreciate the opportunity, but my expertise is in X. I recommend person Y or would be happy to discuss in a topic that you're interested in. Number three, you're interested, but you're overcommitted. You can say, "Oh, this sounds fascinating, but I'm overcommitted right now. Let's revisit this later, or tell me if there's a smaller way I can contribute." Number four, if you want to decline entirely, you can say, "Thank you, I can't commit right now due to other priorities, but I value our connection and hope to collaborate in the future." Number five, if you want to stay open for future opportunities, you can say, "I can't take this on right now, but I would love to stay connected. Feel free to reach out to me in the future." Truth number 17, evolve constantly. What worked last year might not work this year. And that's true for every part of your life, not just research. So to keep growing, you need to revisit your processes, you need to question old assumptions, and also start thinking about new ideas. Maybe that means learning a new statistical method, trying out AI tools to streamline your workflow, or really rethinking how you manage your time. Growth does not just happen, you actually have to go after it. And lifelong learning is not a buzzword, it's how you stay relevant and stay ahead of curve. Read more, talk to people who challenge your thinking, and don't be afraid to try something new. Number 18, changing your mind is growth, not failure. Admitting you were wrong or that your approach wasn't the best does not mean you are weak. It shows that you're growing. Research is all about challenging assumptions, including your own. So if there is new data or experiences that shift your perspective, that's a great thing, because being able to adapt and rethink is what makes great researchers stand out. And honestly, this applies to life too. Even the advice I give on this channel, I reserve the right to change my mind, because 2 years from now, I might learn something new from my experience that completely shifts how I see things today. And that's just how growth works. It's one of the best skills you can have. Number 19, ask advice only from those who've been where you want to go. Not all advice is created equal. So before acting on somebody's opinion, ask yourself, have they actually done what I'm trying to do? If not, their advice might not apply to your goals. It's not about dismissing people, but seeking the right kind of guidance. Mentors who have walked the path you're aiming for will have the insights and wisdom that truly help. That said, you're unlikely going to find this one perfect mentor who fits all your needs, and that's fine, and that's normal. So that's why you need a board of mentors. Some will guide you in career growth, some on research methods, some might help you navigate work-life balance. And so you think of it as building a team of advisors, each with their own strength to support you in different areas of their journey. Number 20, efficiency is not the same as efficacy. Know the difference. Efficiency is about doing things very quickly, but efficacy is doing the right things in the right order. In research, it's easy to mistake being busy for making progress, but activity does not always equal productivity. The key is to focus on tasks that actually move the needle, that actually move your work forward. Speed is meaningless if you're just running through the wrong steps. And so think about it like baking a cake. You can't just toss all of the ingredients into the pan and throw it in the oven. You need to follow the right steps. Skipping steps or doing them out of order will ruin a cake no matter how fast you work. And research is no different. Each stage, for example, formulating the question, designing the study, collecting the data, analyzing the results, need to happen in the right sequence. And so efficacy is about respecting the process while working with purpose. Number 21, always improve at least one thing. Every research project is an opportunity to grow. And the goal is not to reinvent the wheel every time, but to refine a skill. So try a new method or tackle a slightly bigger challenge. It does not have to be a massive leap forward. It can be small, consistent improvement. And so the key is to finish every project better equipped than when you started. So for example, in my own journey, I started with a simple descriptive study. And then for my next project, I decided to push myself and use inferential statistics like logistic regression. And then after that, I moved on to survival analysis with Cox proportional hazard model. And when I ventured into qualitative research, I started with one-on-one interview. Then I explored mixed methods and then eventually conducted a usability study. Each project built on the last, teaching me something new and expanding my skills. So the takeaway, don't stay in your comfort zone. Use each project as a stepping stone to grow as a researcher. The more you learn, the more tools you have to tackle the next big challenge. Number 22, teach to learn. Teaching isn't just about helping others, it's one of the best ways to deepen your own understanding. When you explain a concept to somebody else, you're forced to break it down and clarify your own thinking. It challenges you to fill in gaps you don't even realize were there. In research, teaching could mean mentoring students, guiding colleagues, or even presenting your work at conferences. The act of teaching sharpens your skills and solidifies your knowledge. But teaching also does something else. It builds goodwill. By sharing what you know, you're not just helping others, you're strengthening relationships and creating a ripple effect of trust and collaboration. Whether over time, this goodwill often comes back to you in surprising and rewarding ways. Number 23, be impatient with action, but be patient with results. Speed from idea to action is critical in research. You need to act quickly on opportunities, whether it's submitting a proposal or addressing reviewer comments. But once the work is done, results often takes time. Projects can take a few years before it gets published. So be very impatient with action. Always go with speed. But when it comes to outcomes and results, you have to be patient. This balance is what keeps you moving without burning out. Number 24, avoid drama and gossip. They're poison. Nothing derails productivity faster than getting caught up in drama or gossip. It wastes time, it drains your energy, and also damages relationships, both personal and professional. Plus, being associated with gossip can also harm your reputation, which is really difficult to repair in academia and in research circles. The best approach? Stay out of it. How do you actually avoid it? If somebody starts gossiping about others, politely excuse yourself or steer the conversation towards something productive. If they're really fishing for your reaction, don't take the bait. Give a neutral response like, I wasn't there, so I can't really comment. This usually shuts down the conversation without escalating it. Number 25, you should delegate, but do not abdicate. Delegating is crucial in research because you can't do everything by yourself. But handing off a task doesn't mean washing your hands off it. You still have to train the person, you stay involved, review the work, and also provide guidance when needed. And so delegation works best when it's paired with accountability. Number 26, networking is not a dirty word. Networking gets a bad rep, but in research, it's how you find collaborators, mentors, and opportunities. Think of it as building relationships, not just collecting business cards. Attend conferences, join professional organizations, and don't be afraid to reach out to people whose work inspires you. Number 27, bring value to the table when seeking collaborators. I often get emails and DMs from people asking me to collaborate in their project. And the problem is, I just don't know them. I don't know their skills. I don't know their work habits. And a lot of times, we're not even aligned in terms of research interests or even the same field. And so collaboration isn't about just asking for favor, it's about mutual benefit. Before approaching somebody, think about, what do you bring to the table? Is it scientific expertise, extra time to contribute, or access to a resource they might need? And when you approach someone with a clear value you can offer, they're much more likely to say yes. And before you even ask, sometimes take the time to connect with the person, understand their work, engage with their research, and build some rapport first. A cold ask from somebody you've never interacted with often comes across as impersonal. But when you approach with respect, alignment, and a clear value proposition, collaboration becomes a win-win for both parties. Number 28, keep your word. Your word is your promise, whether it's to yourself or to others. When you make a commitment, it's not just about getting things done, it's about showing that you're reliable and trustworthy. In research, this might mean delivering a manuscript draft on time, completing your part of the project, or following through on a promise to a mentor. Keeping your word builds trust, strengthens relationships, and establishes your reputation as someone people can count on. But keeping your word isn't just about others, but it's also about the promises you make to yourself, whether it's committing to writing an hour a day, finishing that manuscript, or learning a new skill. Following through reinforces discipline and builds self-confidence. When you break promises to yourself, it creates a pattern of procrastination and also self-doubt. Number 29, true confidence comes from evidence. Success in clinical research is tough, and imposter syndrome just creeps in at every single stage. And the key to building confidence is building a track record of evidence. Every project you complete, every section of a manuscript you write, every patient you recruit, and every grant you secure is a proof of your capability. Confidence doesn't just come from nowhere. It needs to grow from small, consistent wins that add up over time, and eventually the results speak for itself. Now, in academic medicine, I often see the opposite. People often dismiss their small wins. During coaching sessions, I'll be asking, okay, what has been your win this week? And they will say something, no, nothing, I didn't do anything. But when we dig deeper, usually they've completed maybe a section of their manuscript, maybe recruited a patient, or implemented a new system in clinic to improve productivity. And guess what? These are all wins, evidence of progress. The problem is we often only look for the big wins and ignore the smaller ones that build momentum. If you're not actively seeking and recognizing these small wins, it's easy to feel stuck. So celebrate the progress, no matter how small. It's the foundation of true confidence. Number 30, you are disposable. So learn transferable skills. You might think, I'm a doctor or I'm a scientist, my job is secure, but the reality is different. In academia, tenure track contracts won't be renewed without proof of scholarly productivity. And even as a doctor, during COVID, many doctors lost their jobs. Every year, new graduates enter the workforce bringing fresh competition. If you're not really improving and providing value, you risk being replaced. So loving your job is great, but don't be naive. Always be prepared. So you want to develop transferable skills that keep you valuable anywhere. The first skill, communication. That includes writing, presenting, and the ability to simplify complex ideas. Skill number 2, project management. Organizing and completing tasks efficiently. The third skill, networking. So building professional relationships can open doors. Number 4, data analysis. Understanding and interpreting data across industries. Number 5, teaching and mentorship. This can enhance leadership while helping others. Finally, adaptability. So here you learn learning new tools and pivoting as needed. These skills aren't just for now, but they are your safety net for the future. Number 31, take care of your body. It fuels everything. Let's be honest, you can't do great research or anything else for that matter if you're constantly burned out or unwell. Physical health and mental health aren't just nice to have, they're the foundation for everything you do. Yet in academia and medicine, it's so easy to push yourself to the limit and think, I'll rest later. But that later never comes unless you make it a priority. Exercise isn't just about staying fit, it's about keeping your energy levels up and your mind clear. Sleep is not optional, it's when your brain processes everything and resets for the next day. And breaks, they're not wasting time, but they are how you recharge so you can actually think creatively and solve problems. Taking care of your body is not selfish and it's the most productive thing you can do today. Number 32, find a hobby that enriches your life. Cal Newport often talks about the importance of cultivating a deep life. He says something about finding high-quality leisure activities that do not rely on low-effort digital distractions to pass time. And for the longest time, I just could not relate to this idea until I finally stumbled into one myself. For me, it's mixed martial arts, particularly jiu-jitsu. I call it my 4-in-1 hobby because it checks so many boxes. Number 1, it's fun. Every session feels like a mix of learning and play, keeps me mentally engaged. Number 2, it keeps me fit. It's a perfect way to stay active and healthy without it feeling like a chore. Number 3, it strengthens relationship. I started this with my kids and it's become a family passion. So we cheer each other on at tournaments, we celebrate every stripe and every belt promotion. And number 4, it boosts productivity. Knowing that I have a class forces me to structure my day better and stay focused so I can show up fully present. Finding a high-quality leisure activity like this does not just enrich your personal life, it's an investment in better, more balanced you. Number 33, think long-term. Play the decade game. Research is about building something meaningful over time. In the moment, progress can feel painfully slow. You might spend months refining a study protocol, years collecting data, and even more time writing, revising, and publishing. So it's really easy to feel discouraged when results don't come as quickly as you have hoped. So that's where the decade game comes in. The best researchers aren't focused solely on their next project. They're really thinking about bigger picture. They're advancing science and medicine piece by piece, and each small step, every paper, grant, and collaboration adds up to something larger. And when you look back over the past decade, those seemingly minor wins stack up into a body of work that you can be proud of. So be patient with the process and stay consistent for a long time. Number 34, Enthusiasm sets you apart, but only if you show it. As a faculty member, I've interviewed fellows, faculty members, faculty candidates into jobs. One of the key traits we are looking for is enthusiasm. And the same applies when writing letters of recommendations for medical students, high school students, or residents who have rotated with us. Enthusiasm isn't just one of those nice to have, it's what makes somebody stand out. Without it, these people tend to blend into the background and become forgettable. Now, the key to enthusiasm, it has to be explicit. It's not enough to just feel passionate internally, you have to show it. So how do you demonstrate enthusiasm to others? Number one, ask questions. Ask thoughtful questions. Whether you're in an interview or on rounds, in a meeting, show curiosity about the topic at hand. Number two, engage actively. Participate in the discussions, share your ideas, show genuine interest in learning. Three, express excitement. If there's a topic or opportunity that excites you, say it out. Let people know what inspires you about the work. Next, follow up. After an experience, reach out to express gratitude or share how it had impacted you. This leaves a lasting impression. Enthusiasm isn't being about loud or over the top. It's about showing genuine interest and energy for what you do. And when you make your passion visible, it sticks with people, whether they are your mentors, colleagues, or future collaborators. Number 35, set your own goals. No one will build the path for you. In research and academic medicine, there's no roadmap handed to you. So you have to decide what you want to achieve and actively create the steps to get there. Waiting for someone else to guide your career or hand you opportunities will leave you stuck there. Think about what excites you, what you want to contribute to the field, and use that vision to set clear, actionable goals. For example, if you want to be an expert in a specific area, outline what that looks like. What skills do you need? How many papers do you need to publish? What conferences should you attend? Who should you connect with? Goals give you direction, but it's up to you to put in the work to build the path. Number 36, take extreme ownership of your outcomes. In research, your results are ultimately your responsibility. If something goes wrong, whether it's a missed deadline, flawed analysis, or a grant rejection, you need to own it. It's not about assigning blame, it's about taking back control. If you own it, means you are able to control the situation. You can ask yourself, what could I have done differently? What can I learn from this? And when you take extreme ownership, you are in control. You become proactive instead of reactive. You plan better, you can anticipate challenges, and follow through with solutions. This mindset not only helps you grow, but also builds trust with your team. People respect those who take accountability and fix problems instead of just making excuses. Number 37, if you're in a bad situation, 3 things: speak up, step up, or pack up. We all face tough situations, maybe an unfair workload, a toxic work environment, or a team that does not collaborate. Complaining or waiting for things to magically improve won't get you anywhere. The key is to take action. So you have 3 options. Number 1, speak up. Voice your concerns respectfully and offer solutions. Sometimes people are just not aware of the problem until you bring it up. Number 2, step up. Take initiative to fix what you can. If something's broken, lead the charge to make it better. And number 3, pack up. If the situation is beyond repair and draining your energy, it might be time to leave. Number 38, learn to think in systems. Success in research and academia isn't just about working harder, it's about working smarter. And that means creating systems that make your work more efficient and productive. A system is a structured process that ensures things get done consistently and with less effort over time. So for example, if you're writing a paper, your system may include organizing references in a citation manager, creating templates for sections, and setting weekly writing goals. If you're running a study, your system might involve automating data collection, setting clear milestones, and scheduling team check-ins. System thinking is about stepping back and identifying the key parts of your workflow and finding ways to streamline them. It's also about spotting bottlenecks, those areas where progress gets stuck, and creating solutions to keep things moving. Once you build systems, you spend less time figuring out what to do and more time actually doing it. And the results? Higher productivity and fewer headaches. Number 39, get comfortable being uncomfortable. It's where growth happens. Growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone, whether it's tackling a challenging project, presenting your work to a tough audience, or even learning a new skill. Discomfort is a sign that you're stretching yourself. Think about the first time you wrote a grant or gave a big presentation. It was probably really, really scary and nerve-wracking. But over time, those uncomfortable moments become easier and you come out stronger. The trick is to embrace the discomfort and see it as part of the process. Every time you push through, you're leveling up. And so lean into the challenge is where real growth happens. Number 40, progress is often about what you stop doing. We tend to think of progress as adding more work, more tasks, more responsibility. But often progress comes from subtraction. What can you stop doing to free up time and energy for what really matters? This could mean letting go of low value projects, saying no to unnecessary commitments, or cutting out inefficient habits. By focusing on the essentials and eliminating distractions, you make room for meaningful progress. And watch this video next on all the things I stopped doing that increase my productivity.